One of the most anticipated characters to appear in Sumeru, Scaramouche, has finally made an appearance with a very interesting cutscene describing his backstory. For the longest time, Scaramouche has barely made any appearances, and his appearance was A. Only for a short amount of time, and B. Mostly limited towards limited events, specifically in the 1.1 Unreconciled Stars event and 2.6 Eldori Festival event. Most information regarding him was hidden in artifact sets and weapon lore. However, this update gave us a lot of information on what is happening with him, and it seems that he will play a core role in Sumeru's endgame. This video, I'll be looking into his backstory through the perspective of his cutscene in Sumeru's Act 3. All the information given to us thanks to the recent Archon quest and answering some questions I'll be mentioning later down the line, and try to predict what exactly will happen with him in Sumeru's endgame when the Genshin Impact 3.2 update happens. The cutscene was telling us the story of Scaramouche's journey from his origins to his current goal, stating that the reasoning for his actions and his outlook was because of the 3 betrayals. To understand these betrayals, we need to look into his origins. Scaramouche was originally a puppet created by A as a prototype to house the Electro-Gnosis. He was intended to be the Raiden Shogun puppet, but seeing tears and believing that he isn't ready, A chose to let him go. This was his first betrayal, committed by someone he considered to be his mother. It was later found in the Shake Pavilion by Katsuragi, who was a Yoriki of a Mikoshi Nagamasa. Scaramouche considered him a friend, learning how to forge a sword and performing a sword dance with him. However, Katsuragi was slain by his master, Mikoshi Nagamasa, and in revenge, Scaramouche confronted him. This was the second betrayal. He was not betrayed by his friend, but rather, his faith in humanity was betrayed the moment Katsuragi died. Afterwards, he met a young boy who made an unknown promise to him, seeing him as the final hope, the one shining light for the future. The reason why he likely trusted this boy was because, as a puppet who was still learning, Scaramouche could easily relate with him. However, the boy passed away due to an unknown reasons, and that was the last betrayal. Not just losing faith in humans, but this also resulted in him giving up on feeling emotions. He gave himself the name Kunikuzushi and wandered around Inazuma with a new goal in mind, getting the Electro-Gnosis. He later joined the Fatui, where he was modified and given the delusion and likely got the name Scaramouche. Later on, he joined the ranks of the Fatui Harbingers, taking the 6th rank, and given the codename the Balladeer. Currently, what we know about Scaramouche was that by the end of Inazuma's Archon quest, he went missing after getting the Electro-Gnosis from Yaemiko. Not just that, but according to Child during 2.2's Labyrinth Warriors event, he went rogue and cut off all connections with the Fatui. It turns out that Scaramouche was actually in Sumeru, and Dottore, the 2nd ranked Fatui Harbinger, was working alongside the Academia to turn Scaramouche into a god. This project had several steps that we faced throughout the Archon quest in Sumeru. This includes the spread of misinformation regarding the Scarlet King's revival, which connected with the creation of Divine Knowledge capsules, and the Mass Dream Harvest scheme, which is meant to test the limits of the Akasha terminals. Now this is speculation, but I believe that Dottore is trying to give Scaramouche the information from the Divine Knowledge capsule and make it so that Scaramouche will never question it. This is proven by the manipulation caused by the Akasha terminal as shown in Act 3, and the truth behind the Divine Knowledge that the scholars originally obtained as shown in Act 4. However, we still have a question that haven't been answered yet. Why is Dottore trying to turn Scaramouche into a god in the first place? Now from here, I'm delving into full theory territory and my speculations of Scaramouche's fate in the final act of Sumeru's Archon quest. Before we even get started with speculations, we need to answer that question stated previously. While it has been stated that the Academia just want a god for themselves since they lost faith in Kusanali, Dottore's motive to turn Scaramouche into a god is still a mystery. The goal of the Fatui Harbingers is to get the 7 Gnosis, so we would assume that Dottore's goal in Sumeru is to get the Dendro Gnosis. In the Winter Night's Lasso teaser, Dottore states that his clone Sumeru, the Dottore Omega build that we confronted, is working on an experiment in blasphemy. If we connect the plan of getting the Dendro Gnosis and the experiment in blasphemy, it reveals Dottore's true reason of turning Scaramouche into a god, and that is to outright replace Kusanali, not just in terms of her role as the god of Sumeru, but even the connection to Irminsul. If we go back to Act 3 of Sumeru's Archon quest, we have the events in Party's DI regarding Hypatia, Kusanali, and Scaramouche. The whole point of Pointy Planet Life is so that scholars can interact with the divine, through connecting with Irminsul. And we also have Scaramouche saying, "I found you," which could mean that he was looking for Kusanali. That will explain why they have Kusanali trapped and no longer letting her mind jump to others. Kusanali even mentions that after the events of Party's DI, that the project was described as restoring Irminsul. But then we still have to question, why is Satori doing this in the first place? Sure, we know he wants Scaramouche to take Kusanali's place as the God of Wisdom, but what does this do for him? We can go back to the original objective of the Futuri Harbingers, getting the 7 Gnosis. Once Kusanali is completely disconnected from the Irminsul tree, she can end up being very vulnerable and end up losing the Dendronosis. Yes, that will destroy the Akasha system, but it doesn't matter because all of the necessary divine knowledge have already been harvested and given to Scaramouche. With this plan succeeding, Satori will get the Dendronosis successfully and the Electronosis as well. Scaramouche will need the Electronosis as the divine core extracted from the Electronosis will take the place of his heart. This was the other reason behind testing the limits of the Akasha system and the Akasha terminals. Again, he would have no idea nor would question anything thanks to the divine knowledge given. Sumeru will be left in a very dangerous state, and it wouldn't matter as long as Satori has both the Electro and the Dendronosis with him. The story of Sumeru's Archon quest will reach its climax with our boss fight against Scaramouche during the 3.2 update. It's likely that we'll face the divine vessel that we saw a hint of in Act 3, and the battlefield could be accessed from the sanctuary of Surastana, the same place where Kusanali was kept captive. I could guess where exactly we could fight him, but I'll wait until we see the 3.2 special program before I go more into that. As for Scaramouche's fate, I believe that he will be saved by Kusanali, and realizing his actions and understanding what he must do, I believe that he will be given a vision, specifically an animal vision. The fact that he could get a vision is proven by the end of the Aranyaka questline, when we saw Rana get the Dendro vision in front of our eyes, which could have been a hint towards Scaramouche eventually getting a vision. The animal element was probably foreshadowed in the 2.8 update, specifically regarding Kazuha. Scaramouche before joining the Futuri was just a wanderer, and his backstory is very comparable to Kazuha's backstory as well. Both were forced to go on a journey, and while Kazuha rediscovers his ambition for exploring in both his story quest and his arc in the Golden Apple Archipelago, Scaramouche is still lost, missing a heart. And it is not simply a coincidence that Kazuha and Scaramouche's story are so similar, because Kazuha was forced to leave Inazuma and go on this journey because of Scaramouche's actions. In the Iridori Festival event, it was revealed that Scaramouche was involved in the downfall of the Raiden Gokuden, and that downfall was one of the few reasons why Kazuha was exiled. With Kusanali's help, Scaramouche will likely self-actualize, gain an animal vision, and leave the ranks of the Futuri Harbingers for good. This is just a general prediction of his fate, and could be slightly altered depending on what I see in the 3.2 update trailer. Now comes the new question. Would he be playable, and when would he come out? Well, it might be sooner than you think. Probably. While the story of Sumeru may come to an end until further notice in the 3.2 update, I believe that Scaramouche's story will continue in the update coming after that, Genshin Impact 3.3. Depending on him being playable or not, his arc could reach a temporary conclusion in his character story quest or an interlude chapter of the Archon quest. With Scaramouche defecting from the ranks of the Futuri Harbingers, we could see him during his journey and even see some of the possible consequences of his actions. Now, this prediction may seem out of nowhere, but there is a reason for this, and that is the pattern regarding Genshin updates. Genshin Impact 3.3, if following patterns, would likely happen throughout the entire month of December. In the past, both Genshin Impact 1.2 and 2.3 took place around that time, and both focused on Dragonspine, the only snow-like area explorable. For Genshin Impact 3.3, to follow the winter theme, we can instead focus on the Harbinger lore, and Scaramouche would be the perfect character to focus on regarding this topic. In addition, in the main story quest of this update, we could end up meeting a new Harbinger, not Tartaglia, but a new Harbinger we have never met before, Arlecchino. It would fit in terms of Commedia dell'arte, since Scaramouche was often beaten by Arlecchino/Harlequin for his boasting and cowardice. In terms of the game, Arlecchino can confront Scaramouche for his defection, not with a boss fight, but rather just the dialogue. We will be introduced to her and her rank, which I think is 10, and part ways for now. Again, this is a general prediction for an update that won't be coming for a while. So this is a rough description of Scaramouche's backstory, his current role in terms of story, and my predictions of his fate in the 3.2 update and beyond. Again, these are just general predictions, and I could be entirely wrong and make a fool of myself, or I could have just accidentally spoiled myself 2 updates in advance. Leave some of your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe to see more Genshin content including Let's Play videos, reactions, and possible theory videos. ACairconditioner signing out. Have a good one guys, and stay safe.